I talk to telling me about what they're spending on, and I'm just trying to give you guys the best advice to maximize your money if you're spending. If you're free to play, try to maximize your disadvantages that you're going to have, obviously, with people spending. Overall, you have to remember this game is meant to be for the long haul. So if you're playing temporarily and you don't see yourself staying around for season one or after season two or so on and so forth, then obviously you have to consider what your plans are, right? If you plan to stay longer, then the biggest thing you can do is be patient, right? Obviously, if you're a large spender or a whale, then this information, it's not going to really apply to you. You're going to spend whatever you want and do whatever you want. All I'm going to give anyone who spends a little bit or certain amount, I'm going to give you an idea what you should do. So the one thing I'd say you would not want to do is this pack right here. Is your ore pack. It tells you, oh, you can get lucky and get 10,000. Most likely you're not going to, right? This is not the greatest pack. Again, if you're a large spender or a whale, then you're probably already buying everything in the store, so it doesn't really matter. But what you want to not do is, I would say, not get this, right? It's not the greatest one. You're going to get a ton of ore, you're going to get a ton of skill points. So there's really, if you do it right and you do all your tasks and do everything else, you're going to get something worthwhile, right? So that's why I said you can't really worry about those things. Like you can spend in different avenues. You can spend it in crazy amounts, and just put it in perspective. Like if you're not sure how much you actually spend, let's say for a month you want to be a whale, right? So we'll say, for example, because we have it going on right now, the total mobilization, right? Let's say you're going to max it out to where you get it to here, right? And you get your free 10 red prints, right? You're going to be spending upwards of $300 to $400 just for that, right? Just to get that, right? And then you're probably going to max all this stuff out right here. You're going to get your material, you're going to get your blueprints, you're going to get your boxes, so on and so forth, right? So you're going to get all that stuff. So right there alone is $300 to $400. Yes, you get your 10 blueprints, which are super hard to get. Let's say let's say a week or 2 weeks later, you get the bullseye game, and let's say you are patient, you're saving your tickets. You say, you know what, I'm going to drop whatever it takes for me to get to 700 tickets, like we talked about, to get the top to get 10 free blueprints. You're probably looking at $300 to $500. So right in just those two games, let's say it's back to back within a month, or every 1 week, second week, you're looking at like eight to $900 just from those two. Then we have the glitter event. Let's say the third week, right? And now you're buying, I don't know, just enough for blueprints, maybe $100. You're looking at 900, roughly 900. Or let's say you're getting all the red prints. You're looking at like, 1,000. And then you have to factor in your weekly pass that you're going to do, which is probably the only time that I would do order, because it's not just that, it combines with everything, and you only have a limited amount. So $25 there, right? You also have the monthly passes that come out, all different ones, whether it's the weapons exclusive or the season passes that are coming out and all those things. And then you have the daily sale. If you're buying the pack all the time, whether it's for the shards, you're going to be spending like $1,300. And that's what we talk about when we're looking at like a high spender or a whale. If you're spending upwards of that, you can consider yourself a high spender, right? If you're spending more than that, like weekly or monthly, you're probably going close to whale status. I mean, if you look at some of the whales we go against, they're spending probably upwards of more than that. They're buying out the packs. They're buying out this store right here, Total Mobilization. They're buying all of this. They're probably maxing this out 3 a day. So you're at 3, 6, 9, let's say 5 days, 3 times that. You're 15 times they're buying this. So you can do the math there. That's, that's a lot of money. It's $1,500 just in that if you buy that out all the time. Obviously, they max all this out, but you have to keep that in consideration. I think the hardest thing for people is not really knowing where they are, or like, oh, I'm going to set my budget here. If you have a $500 budget, you're not maxing out the total mobilization. You're not maxing out all these, because your whole budget is gone within that first 2 weeks. So if you know, especially with this calendar, guys, this calendar is great because it shows you what's coming, so you can plan ahead. You can be like, all right, well, I need to see a little bit more for this, and you can literally put in whatever you want. You can go, I need blueprints. All right, total mobilization has right now, which is going on right now, right? Or I want the level 5 boxes. All right, the supply boxes have it. So if you're going to spend, you could spend there. I don't really like the game per se, that one. I like to go in different routes. But again, to reiterate, you want to get stuff that's going to benefit you, not the skill points. You get tons of that. It's just being patient, right? But regardless of your level, unless, like I said, you're a whale, you're going to do whatever you want. I could tell you to jump left and you can jump right. It is what it is. But I would not waste it on the skill points, or I would go for your master for your hero gear, right, to get chest, or um, your skill chips for your drone, like I told you, or any of those boxes, or anything that's going to really benefit you and give you power and help the collective of it, right? Um, but again, you have to factor all that in. Like if you're legitimately going to play this over time more than season 1, season 2, then you want to factor that in, and it's just time. A lot of this game is time. Like I talk about it. Yes, the more someone spends, the more advantage they're going to have. But if you're spending $500 and you're trying to do what a whale is doing, or a very large player who's spending $1,300 a month and you can't keep up, you're eventually, what you're going to do is burn out whatever your budget is. You're going to overspend, and it's going to get overwhelming to the point where you're like, I can't do this anymore, and then you quit, which I don't want to see. So really, any free to play, or whether you're spending whatever level it is, you have to really consider, this is like the hard truth, what what are you capable of? If you're a medium spender or a dolphin or whatever you consider yourself, are you spending a fraction of that? And that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. You're on your own track. You're running your own game, right? You're running your own race. So if you're comparing yourself to a whale that's spending a massive amount of money that you can't keep up with, that's fine. You're in your own race. Stay in your category, stay in your grouping, just like we do for battles, and you find what fits you, right? If you start to spend too much that you can't keep up with, all you're doing is you're burying yourself, and you're not going to be able to cover other areas. You're not going to be able to grow in different spots. That's why I tell you, stay away from those certain things. Obviously, like I said, the drone chips I think are huge. Other things are really good. When the events come up, I try to talk on them. But I want to give this, and it's a hard truth. I mean, some people don't even really think about it. But what is your goals in the game? Obviously, it's a very long game. They're going into season 5 now. They have T11s, which we won't even touch because we're so far away, but it does get expensive. But leading forward, I'm going to try to do a series of videos throughout the week. Some of them will get deleted because they only stay on here for so long. So if there is a question, or you miss it and you want me to go over something, drop it in my Discord, Twitch, or on the game, and I'll address it. Again, if you guys want to support the channel, reach out to me here, Twitch, Discord, in the game. Um, but that's really something I just want to touch on and come on. Do not buy the ore, the skill points. Again, if you're spending massive amount of money, I get it. But if you're not, you're on like a set budget of what you want to do. There's so many different ways you can do it. Like I said, the chips are a good way. The material to get in total mobilization. I keep stressing this, and I can't say it enough. The level 5 boxes, because after level 8 and 9, it gets super, super expensive. Thousands of dollars to get to where you want to go for that. And it's so costly, right? And then obviously we have everything else coming, which I'm not even going to go into in this video because it's just a lot. But just be prepared, like I said. If you're unsure, or you don't know what you're going to budget, then take in perspective what I told you and just downsize it. Like I said, you can't compare yourself. If you're comparing yourself to a player who's investing $3,000-$4,000 a month, and your idea of where you're going to invest is $250 to $500 or $50 to $100 a month, then obviously you're going to be scaled, and it's going to be different than what they're spending, right? They're going to be spending mass amounts. So they could drop $1,000 in the glittery market and get all their blueprints and max out their gear. They can drop another $1,000 on all these other side games. But again, you have to remember, stay within your means of what you're trying to do. What are you trying to accomplish? That's why I tell people what an example is a hero gear, which I'm going to go into a series of different formations. You also have to see what works for you, what gear goes on them, but that's just a sneak peek for that. But remember, stay where you are, and if you feel that you're not going to be able to sustain it, the worst thing you can do is take a budget that you're unsure of, or like, oh yeah, I'm just going to push as hard as I can, and you spend more than you think, and now you're not able to recover, or you can't sustain that. And that's mostly what happens. That's why I said budget what you're trying to do. If I'm trying to push my drone chips, I'm going to do a couple. If I only want to push my drone chips, I'm going to invest heavily in that. if I'm trying to push my components, I'm going to find the event that benefits for both. Like, for example, total mobilization. I split it between my components and my material because that's what I'm trying to push, because I know it benefits me in the long run. The ore and the skill points of me buying packs for that does not benefit me because we get it constantly. Look right here, right? You can look in, sorry, wrong one. Not the trucks, but we can look in here, right? And we can see in our task, you're getting a ton of ore, right? You're getting tons of it, right? Here's 2,000 right here, okay? 240 if you don't reset it, right? So I'm going to reset this anyway, just to show you. So we're going to wait to find a really good one we want. So I'm going to put this here. I'm going to wait till I get what I want, right? Not saying you should do this all the time, but again, if you can get a better one, you should get it. So I'm just going to take this one because I don't want to keep clicking through and using diamonds for no reason, right? And then here's a good one, right? So you can see right here, I got my drone component boxes. Perfect, right? But look at what you're getting. There's 1,400 right there, right? So you're getting that easily from this. It's just being patient, right? It's just waiting for that. Don't spend money where you don't have to. If you can use, let's say instead of buying this pack, right, my $5 pack, I come over here and I go to total mobilization and I buy a $5 pack here for 10. So what does that get me? That gets me some more material to build stuff. Or I go $10 and I can get, let's say, 20 tickets. I can get 2 of the material. That's 200 material for your chips. Or I can get 1 blueprint, or I can just go on more and save them, right? So that's why I said I rarely tell anyone to do that. If you're a larger player, then I can understand. But you have to remember, like, you have to know where your limit is, right? You can't keep pushing further than you are good at, right? Because for example, you say, "Oh, that's not bad. I can do that." Yeah, but how long can you sustain that for, right? Let's say 3 months. So you're going to spend what, 26 and 2, and then you're going to spend close to another 4 grand in 3 months on this. That's what I said. If you're really committed, that's and that's not even a crazy budget. I mean, that is crazy to most people, but you have people in this game that probably spent that in a couple months, maybe less. You have some people who have all their gear maxed out. You have to remember the red prints to get them maxed out are super expensive. You're probably spending for about 10 on average if you're doing it in the game, probably $300 to $400 if not more. So you can see the excuse me, they go up each time. So the first time you do is 5, 10, so on and so forth. So you can imagine how expensive it gets. So even if you get 10, and let's say you do all the games, you're probably spending like $1,000 easily there, right? So you have to remember, like I said, stay within your means, stay within what you're trying to do. Don't try to get so fixated, and that's what I see a lot of people is get fixated on the number and say, I'm total hero power 20, but I want to be 10 and I'm going to drop $1,000. Again, if you say that and that's what you're going to do, by all means, I get it. I'm not going to tell anyone how to spend their money, but you could always stretch it further, and that's all I'm trying to do is get the most out of for everyone. So again, if you guys have any questions in regards to this or want me to make other videos, please reach out to me, Discord, Twitch, or in the game. And again, if you want to support the channel, reach out to me. I'll give you information. Or if you want to discuss anything further, you can reach out to me. All right, guys. I'll see you out there.